Hi everybody, I'm Jake Johnston and this is Jake Showcase. I do videos on Wednesday. Today I'm going to tell you about my high school dance disaster. Now you might not believe all the aspects of this story, but it all ties in, so you just stay tuned. Now interestingly, it's a follow-up for my previous video asking out the cheerleader. It was for the same dance. It was for the semi-formal at my Catholic high school. As I had said, I had made a list of the top to bottom girls that I might ask out in the 10th grade. I had a list of 249 names, and I started at the very top, and I worked my way down, and I got no's from everybody. You have to remember, in the 10th grade, I was only 4 years away from being the smallest guy in the country still. In the 6th grade, I actually became the second smallest guy in the country. Somebody was smaller than me, but I was extremely small. In fact, I would have to say I was around under 5 foot, probably around 4'8", 4'9", something like that. Just very tiny. So basically, everybody was bigger than me, including all the girls. Further down the list I got, asking out these 249 girls and getting no after no after no, I was really becoming aware that, you know what, it's got to be my height. It's got to be because I'm so small. I seem to get along with most of them. It's just that when you asked them out for a date or something official like a school dance, they weren't interested or they didn't want to go with me. I said, you know what, I need to get myself some shoes, some platform shoes. I heard about platform shoes. I didn't really know what they were, but I was so frustrated and getting all these no's. I thought, you know what, I need platform shoes, and I went on a hunt for the platform shoes. Now, as you can imagine, because I was so small, my feet are really small too. Even now, I'm a 5.5 W size for kids, and most men's sizes don't even fit me now. But back in the day, they really didn't fit. So I went hunting in the most oddest of shoe shops, and I finally found a pair of platform shoes. Wow, they were huge. It was about 3 inches, which was a big deal. It might have been 4 inches. I don't know. It was quite a large platform. But there was a problem. You see, the shoes were they were way too big. When I put my feet in it, I would just slide right down it, and every time I took a step, my feet would come out. I was so desperate to get taller, I bought the platform shoes and decided I was going to think about it. And what I did was I stuffed almost a roll of toilet paper in each toe, and I would then wear the shoes after that. So what happened was I had like these big giant, it was almost like stilts that I barely had my foot in, and I was starting to walk around with this. Quite honestly, I kind of looked like a fool because it took so long to take these steps, and it was treacherous. Not only was it slippery out, but I couldn't hold my balance, and I had to go extremely slow. In fact, I fell in a portable right in front of that cheerleader I talked about in the last video, right on my face. Basically, I was already out of names, but I felt really good about myself for that 1 week before the semi-formal dance because I finally was taller, and I didn't know if that was going to help me out or not because basically everybody had dates by then. The only person not on the list of the 249 names of potential girls was the 250th person, which I never even considered for a date. Yes, technically she was a girl, but she was my best friend, and she wasn't like a normal girl. She was kind of like a real tomboy, right? With the buzzed hair, army fatigues, and always wearing covered up, right? We spent a lot of time together talking about politics, how good-looking girls were, and all the stuff that normal guys watching sports together, playing chess, all the kind of guy things we like to do together. It was me and her. In fact, we had lots of good conversations, but it was so friendly that it was like I was talking to my brother or something. In fact, I used to ask her if he wants to go to the guys' room with me, or she. Interestingly, years later, she changed her name and her sex, and she's actually a man now, so it's a he now. So it was something going on there in high school, but it just wasn't evolved yet. The only 2 things that were feminine about her was that every once in a while, if you look at a certain angle, she kind of looked pretty, and even though she would wear multiple sweaters all the time, I one time, I think, seen that she had very large breasts, and so, you know, it was a reach, but she was definitely a girl. So I had run out of options, and back in those days, girls couldn't ask other girls to dances, so it was sort of like, you know, she didn't have a date either. And I thought, well, you know, maybe I should ask her. See, in the 10th grade, it's kind of all about social standing, right? You want to show up with the girl, means you've arrived, right? And the prettier girl you have, the better. I was so depressed because I didn't have any girl. There was an alternative called going stag, and that puts on a whole new set of circumstances. You're going stag, especially for that particular dance called the semi-formal. Grade 10, it was better to have a date than to be stag for sure. So I asked her, and she asked me. It was kind of weird, but we thought, okay, you know what, let's just go together. You have to remember, I've never looked at this girl as a potential prospect at all. In fact, one time I was trying to think and, get interested in her, and it just, I don't know how to explain it. It was like I was looking at a fella. Now I have my platform shoes, right, and I'm ready to go to the dance. And I dressed up. Remember, it's semi-formal, so not totally formal and not totally casual. I had to go pick her up at her house. I went to her house and wearing my platform shoes and kind of slowly creeped up the steps there, trying to hold on to the railing. I got inside and I couldn't believe it. She had a dress on. I didn't even know she had dresses. It would be like, seeing Michael Jordan in a dress. It was just unusual. You just like, what? It was a shock to me. I do think I bought her a corsage, but I don't think she wanted to put it on. Anyway, her father was there, and her father was huge. He must have been 6'2", maybe 270 pounds. And for me, I was under 5 foot and well under 100 pounds, and I was scared of this guy. Beet red face with the beard. He was kind of terrifying to me, kind of like Andre the Giant. You know how most fathers always talk, take care of my daughter. I didn't have to have any of that. I just took one look at him. My eyeballs were so big, he just thought, I got nothing to say to this guy. So me and her went off to the dance. And we got there, and everybody was already in there with their fancy dates. And then we arrived. I slowly had to go up the stairs. Took forever on these platform shoes, which I was terrified of collapsing. The dance was going okay. Everybody was impressed to see her in a dress, because nobody else had seen her in a dress either, especially the girls. Anyway, the dance was going great. And so we basically hung out with this crowd that was kind of a little bit more like kind of tougher. So much if we were tougher, it was just kind of like the offbeat crowd that I hung out with in high school. Anyway, the type of dancing that was popular then was something called moshing. What you do in moshing, I guess, is you get in a circle and then you go into the center and you kind of push each other around, especially the guys. For me on my platform shoes and me in general, it was so foreign to me, this moshing, it was definitely not a good idea. They're on the edge of the circle. At one point, I think I stepped into the circle about a foot, and I got too scared because these guys are just flying around, banging off each other, way huger than me. And I'm basically having a hard time even standing still. Well, all of a sudden, one of these guys came flying at me and banged into me, and I went flying backwards. Not only did I go flying backwards, but I felt this huge giant smack on the back of my head. That smack on my head was actually allowed me to keep my balance and to stay back up on my feet. But I turned around. When I turned around to my horror, my date was laying spread eagle in her dress, out cold, on the ground, on the gym. She must have been standing behind me, and when I went flying backwards, I smashed into her nose. Her nose was bleeding like crazy. It was nuts. I couldn't believe it. After asking her all these girls and getting all these notes, I finally get a date, and then I break her nose. I rushed her all into the girls' locker room, and we found out very shortly that she had broken her nose. I had broken my date's nose at the school dance. It was terrible. Her and all her girlfriends went into the principal's office to try to get an ambulance. And in came the huge father, coming around. He was furious. He was walking up them stairs, looking for her and looking for me. I didn't know what to do. I was so scared. I felt so bad. I totally didn't mean it. I went flying back. I got pushed by somebody. But the situation was absolutely atrocious, and I couldn't believe it. So she ended up going to the hospital and getting a big nose brace that she had to wear for months. And the father didn't end up killing me or getting mad at me or yelling at me. He realized it was a mistake. That semi-formal was an absolute disaster in grade 10, and I will never, ever forget it. Quite honestly, I don't know if there's a moral to this story, but wow, what a time period. Oh yeah, the rest of my high school dances were were quite interesting too. Oh yeah, I continued to have problems throughout high school getting dates to the old high school dance. And you know what? I ended up getting rid of those platforms. Those platforms were just ridiculous. I couldn't hold up. Honestly, by walking around on those platforms, I was going to hurt myself. Thanks for watching Jake Showcase, everybody. Please like my video below and subscribe to my channel up above. I do my videos on Wednesdays. I hope you have a wonderful day.